Hi, this is Michelle from Michelle's Macarons, and today I'm going to show you how to make a proper meringue. Macaronage. How to do the macaronage step. So if you don't know what that is, it's after you've made the meringue. Go to this video if you don't know how to do that. Then you add the dry ingredients, and that process is called the macaronage. Folding in the dry ingredients. You really have to make sure you don't overfold it, because then you can get really runny batter, which leads to kind of spread out macarons and sunken macarons, or you can underfold it, and that leads to too tall, hollow macarons and with the bumps on the top. So if you get it just right, your macarons should turn out great. All right, so we're gonna start with our meringue, just like we made in this video. Bouncy, it's got those sharp peaks, and it's ready to go. Don't let any of this stuff sit at all. I already said that in this video, but don't let anything sit in between. Once you turn the mixer on to get those egg whites going, you can't stop until you have them piped out and ready. Now you add 1/3 of your dry ingredients, and I like to fold 10 times. There's a lot of different recipes. I'm just going to tell you what I do when I'm using this recipe. In other recipes, you might not have to do 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, but that's just what I do, and I do it every single time. And I count to the same number every time too. You see how I'm going around the outside? So I'm taking my spatula and scraping around the edge, and then letting the spatula turn in my hand to pull it back through and go all the way to the edge of the bowl then. If you're liking this video, let me know by hitting the like button below. Now I add another 1/3. See how I'm letting the spatula kind of move with the batter. You should really be rotating the bowl while you're doing this so you get all the different parts of the batter mixed in. But I don't always do that, so that's not like super important, but you do want to make sure you're doing that when you first start. Then add the last 1/3 of the dry ingredients. See, all the way around, pull through till you hit the edge of the bowl, and make sure you're also getting up. If you've got one of those, if you're using one of the other bowls from the KitchenAid mixer, another bowl that has that kind of, it swoops down like this, you're gonna really have to make sure you're going under as well, so you pick up the dry ingredients from below and you're not just going around the sides. By now you should be hitting about 30 folds. Now I fold until I get to 45. Then I will stop and add the food coloring. And it's not like really important that you add the food coloring at that time every time. It's just that I don't want to lose count, so I do the stopping. I stop and add the food coloring at the same count every single time. And I like to do it when the dry ingredients are incorporated. I don't want to add the food coloring before that, because it starts to kind of bind with the almond flour, and then you have like speckled food coloring dots in your batter. So this is just what I found with my recipe to be a good time to add the food coloring. But if whatever you do, just do it at the same time every time you make it, so you can remember 45 is my stopping. Because also you're going to need to stop at first if you haven't made these before. You're going to need to take a little break, but not too long. Just maybe not more than a minute. Okay, so straighten things out there. Then add your food coloring, or not if you're just starting. Then this will really show you where you're neglecting the batter. If you notice that the batter from the bottom's not getting folded in. So if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe with the button below and then hit the bell next to it, and you'll get a little notification whenever I post a new video. I skipped ahead, so I cut to when I'm about to check it. So I start to check it at count 60. If you're doing like a half batch, I usually do the full batch. From the recipe on my site that I always use, I usually do the full thing, but you could try it at 55, but usually it's at 60. 60 counts is when I will test it and let it ribbon off, okay? Now, I'm going to show you from a different angle in a second, but I want you to see it from the top. That looks like it could be ready, but we're letting it sit right now in real time, and notice that it's not really falling back into the bowl right now. And by that, I mean, you don't want it to completely flatten out and look like you never ribboned. the batter, that would be folding too far for this recipe. But you want it to kind of all level out, but still have the lines from where you did the ribbon. You want to be able to see that you ribboned, but you don't want the ribboning to stick up. And you want it to all kind of level out, but there still be ribbon indent. Okay, so I'm going to fold, maybe I usually never go over 70. So I'll probably fold like 10 more times here. But this is where I only did that because I know that that needs 10 more folds. If you don't know yet, fold 5 more times, 2 more times. Don't just go whipping out 10 folds if you just started. Okay, now here's from this angle. Now pick some up from below and look at the edges. This is what I really tell people to look at when they're letting it ribbon. You don't want it to be thick. When you really want to look at the ribbon, so it's ribboning off the spatula, you don't want it to be like a thicker, rounded batter ribbon. You want it to be thin, but not too thin, and kind of jagged on the edges. So do you see what I mean there? It really does look like a ribbon because it's thinner, and doing that fold like a ribbon would do if you were to let it fall down, how it would kind of go, it's doing that. And then I like to really look at the edges and make sure they are tapering off and they look jagged. And then it's starting to level out in the batter, in the bowl. It's starting to level, but still you can see where the ribbon was. All right? And this is real time. I'm letting it just sit. Okay, I'm going to show you a different color and a different batter just so you really get the hang of this. So this has also been folded. This is when it's ready. Look how thin that is from the side. You see how in the bowl it's got that ribboning, settled ribbon look? And then it's just kind of flattening. I would let it sit for no longer than a minute before going in and adding a couple more folds. So yeah, then you put that into your pastry bag. But this is a big deal for me. I see a lot of people say that they pipe a tray, let the leftover batter sit, and then bake the tray, and then go back and pipe the rest. That has never worked for me. So if you're doing that and you think you're doing everything else right and your macarons are not turning out, consider not doing that. If you have to, get an extra tray, but if you can't do that, just make half a batch or a quarter of a batch, or make a really small batch and see if you're still having that problem. Because if you're having perfect macarons your first tray and then the second ones are messed up, that could be why. So I have to get that. I put it in the bag right away and start piping immediately. I don't let it sit at all. Okay. If you want to start selling your baked goods and you want to start a home bakery, join the email list below and I will notify you when my course called the Home Bakery Blueprint opens back up, where you can work with me to start and grow your home bakery business. And if you are still having trouble making macarons and you've checked out all of these other videos, join the Michelle's Macarons Facebook group, and it's a free Facebook group where post pictures of your macarons. You can post pictures of every step along the way, and we will help you make better macarons. Okay. If you'd like, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put those links in the description, and check out these other videos. Okay, love you. Bye.